Hello, everybody. This is Frank with Iron Age News on the South Florida Conservative News Center. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 12:28 p.m. And there's been a lot of concern in Republican circles, whatever that means anymore, at the large amount of defectors from the MAGA slash Trump is the man movement into all the infighting, into all the Jew hating, into all the usual things that we saw over in the Democratic Party that are now occurring with the Republicans. And we have done ourselves, I don't know, 5 or 10 videos on who these people are and what they intend to gain from this. Nobody out there now, outside of President Trump's working party, is in it for the American people. They are going to tell you they are, but they are not in it for the American people. The Carlsons, the whatever that fucking girl's name is, the other hater of everybody, all those people. And now I'll have to add Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, and a number of others to it. And you have to wonder what's up, right? Aren't you all supposed to try to make America great again? Why must you continually fight? What is this thing with you people and Israel? And is that the only thing going on? Because as I've spoken to people in the last few days again, when we're worried about the Chinese, everybody and their grandmother thinks Israel is the number one enemy of the United States, whereas we know it's the Chinese, right? Even the peace process has not gotten Hebrew mania off of the stage. Okay. It is not stopping. It is a ages old racism, anti-Semitism, whatever. It was always managed badly by honestly, I thought it was managed horribly by the Jewish people in general. And you sort of saw it was going to come back, but it has come back at such a fervent level that I haven't seen it like this. Well, I didn't see it in the 30s, but I would say not since the 30s have you seen it where it is all encompassing. But what does that have to do with the Republican Party? Well, the Republican Party is fractured almost to the point of you can't even recognize what was going on here, let's say in the Reagan era. Okay, not that Reagan is a great example of a lot of this because there was a lot of things that went wrong during Reagan, but he was the first of those super beloved Republican presidents after a long laundry list of very gray gentlemen in very gray suits, right? He was a populist. Populists have not been popular, unfortunately, until, now. And things are changing, and the rats aren't leaving the ship. They're leaving the ship of Trump to get themselves into the ship of state. So we're going to talk a little bit about the various power plays that are shaping our country and who's winning and who's losing. If you want to see some graphic evidence, some projections that we've made, what's going to go on in the next few years while Trump is still in power, and then what will happen after Trump, and we have a couple of forecasts there, go to www.southfloridaconservative.com. It'll be on there. It's also on Substack. We do videos on whatever channel you're watching, which may be either BitChute or Rumble or our Minority Report over at YouTube. So in there, you'll find some information. It is important to keep up with what's going on this party because there is more betrayal on a daily basis in the Republican halls of power than there are in the left-wing side. Socialism's pretty much won over there. There's Schumers and stuff like that that are trying to hold on, but they're being consumed by the beast. So let's not worry about them. Let's worry about the people who should be doing the job of helping America become a first world nation again, but instead are busy mowing each other down for political ambition. So once again, the Republican Party of 2025 isn't really one party anymore. It is a patchwork. It is a network of overlapping tribes that share a name but not a mission. At the center of it all, you know who? Orange Man. the Donald himself, Donald Trump. He is not just a political leader. He's become the gravitational pull that bends everyone else's orbit and around him. You see a little group of asteroids, a swirl of groups that often agree only on one thing, that they don't want to lose access to his spotlight. To be without Donald is to be without the sun. A tree cannot grow without the sun, and all these scallywags know it. You've got populists, you've got technocrats, you've got traditionalists, you've got media nationalists, each fighting to define what Republican even means, let alone the word conservative. If we knew it was going to be this bad, we would have come up with Happy Joy Puppy Day for the name of the freaking channel. We would have done better. But that's neither here nor there. So let's break this down. You have a populist core. That is Trump, at one point, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Carrie Lake, and at one point, Laura Loomer, and they run on loyalty and emotion. They are promising to fight the culture wars on behalf of the forgotten America, right? Then there's the media nationalist wing. There's other people in these groups. I'm just throwing some names out there. And when we looked at this other name, it may be a little shocking, but what are we really talking about? The guy we have, Fucker Carlson, we have J.D. Vance, believe it or not. They're less about the rallies and they're more about reshaping ideology. They talk about ending foreign wars, cutting off Ukraine aid, and questioning the old alliance with Israel. That's two of those. Now we have the technocratic conservatives. That's the Heritage Foundation group, Peter Thiel's people, policy engineers who are trying to turn Trump's instincts into organized governmental power. They are the plotters. They are the planners. They are way back down the hallway. They don't even know what the Lincoln bedroom looks like. And finally, you have the legacy establishment. You got the guys like Marco Rubio, the Haleys, the McConnells. They're still there. And Rubio is establishment. Argue what you want. He's been very effective, but that's where he is rooted. Is he changing? Somewhat, but he needs to be constantly modified. They're still there. They're still running committees. They're managing donors and waiting for the populist fever to burn itself out so that they can go back to business as usual. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. Together, they form what's left of the GOP, the grand old party, for those of you who don't know what it means. But the alliances shift weekly, sometimes daily, sometimes I would say varying on the quality of dope they're all doing, because the stuff that comes out of some of their mouths is incredible after years of tying themselves to one brand, right? And how does this fracture become what it is today? All right, they got three main reasons. Okay, the common enemies are disappearing. The Cold War is over. The Tea Party has faded. Without a single clear opponent, each of these factions has to invent its own cause. The second issue, social media has changed everything. We say this in every article about everything because it is true. It's the single most uh, destructive, instructive, whatever you want to call it, force in the last hundreds of years. I'll go hundred since the printing press. Nothing has changed, fucked up, destroyed, made positives, whatever, worldwide as social media has. Better or worse, it's true. In Congress, it's no longer about writing laws. They just want to get likes. We've done videos. We said, how can you guys do these endless committees and you yell at these people and you have enough information to prosecute them and you never prosecute them? Well, if you were to prosecute them, then the spotlight comes off of you and goes on to the prosecutor. And if I need to have the spotlight on me to be loved and whatever else, then I cannot let it go to prosecution, can I? That's how sick this whole social media system has gotten. It's very true. It's like that. They've realized that going viral can raise more money than sitting through hearings. And that's how we got the influencer politician class, which is like Gates to now he is. Green, she's becoming that. Boebert, who treat politics like performance art. All right. And Matt, I feel bad for because he would have probably been a very good attorney general if he hadn't got caught up in the underage girl and cocaine thing. What's a guy to do, right? And third, the money has moved. Traditional corporate donors have gone quiet, and the new funding came from crypto investors and tech moguls and digital media empires. And this money now follows personality, not party, not substance, just image. And they are all standing in Trump's shadow. And that is what it's all about. The biggest reason the Republican world looks like it does today, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, ruler of the free world. Okay. He taught a generation of politicians that they don't need the party, they just need a phone and a following. And he replaced the machine with a level of charisma that even his most vicious enemies have to admit is out there, right? They don't want to, but deep in their hearts, when they're drinking baby's blood and whatever other bullshit they get up to, giving each other enemas, they know that on a smile fest, handshaking party, Donald Trump will bury them all. And now, even those who try to outgrow him still depend on him. Every speech, every poll, every headline still measured against Trump. He is the sun, as I said, and things must revolve around the sun. Everyone else is either reflecting the light or burning up trying to reach him. And I do believe he is that. It is like the Sun King, if you remember. All right. So let's look at a couple of choices for futures, which we have forecast more heavily on the other site, which I showed earlier. These are very broad, and this does not mean this is exactly what's going to happen. It'll be variations thereof. You have three possible futures. You have three storylines that could define the Republican movement in the next few years. And all of them have to do with Trump. Without Trump, it's over. Why do you think they're constantly trying to kill the man, right? So we're going to give you a couple. We'll give you three, which are going to be the major ones. There will, be variants thereof, but for your schemology, this will do enough to get you conspiracy theorists going. First one, the divine leader. Once again, it's Trump. Economic ideas, tariffs, energy independence, reshoring industry, they actually work. The country recovers, and he is seen as the man who was right all along. In this version, the party becomes almost religious in its devotion to Trump. It's getting there, right? He doesn't need to destroy his rivals. He just outshines them, right? He is winning, as Charlie Sheen would tell you, by winning, right? Second, the delegating executive. These are just, we use them as archetypes. Trump remains in charge, but lets the professionals like the Heritage Foundation and Peter Thiel's savages run the machinery of government. Probably isn't going to happen. He focuses on image and inspiration while they handle logistics. The version that we're talking about there is cold and efficient. It is a monarchy with spreadsheets. I do not think it would happen because Trump is trying to avoid us going into yet another autocracy situation or bureaucracy rule situation. But you have to do what you can do given the landscape that's out there. And third, the silent exit. While all these people are busy killing themselves to be close to the man, Trump steps back or gets bored and doesn't choose a successor. Right? You guys are all being very mean to me. I'm going to go to Mar-a-Lago and I am not going to put my hand around anybody's shoulders. The result of that would be a power vacuum. The factions would splinter, the populists, the theocrats, the technocrats, the media influencers, all are going to be claiming to be the true heirs of the movement. You see a minor version of that occurring now in the Charlie Kirk world. You hear Charlie Kirk's name more now than you probably did the last 6 months that he was alive, because everybody seems to know the inner working of Charlie's brain. Everybody had dinner with Charlie. They took long walks with Charlie. They had sleepover parties with Charlie. And it's people that hadn't talked to him in 15, 20 years. But nobody knows that because nobody knows the man, right? So you just say shit until people believe it. Much like as, well, yeah, yes, we could say that. Jesse Jackson getting bloodied up and saying that he was holding Martin Luther King after he got shot. Remember that? That was a great one. That's the most chaotic path that we're on. Okay, if it was going to number three, it's also the one that could produce the next Trump-like figure. Unfortunately, a new outsider who promises to fix the mess left behind. But at that point, would it be an authentic Trump or AI produced Trump? Much like AOC is an AI produced without the AI. She is an artifice of two or three corporations that run her. Look at our old video on it, our old article, whatever you want to look at. She was put together by a series of companies to define her policies and everything else. That's why she looks like an asshole when she talks in public. If she is put on the prompter, if she is kept on her meds, she is kept on everything that she's kept on, she is a tough nut to crack. You catch that silly bitch on the side of a sidewalk somewhere, and an orangutan could talk her out of a party, right? So that's what we would have happen here. Same thing. Do we want to have these, artifices of actual people going in there and running offices? Not really. But those would be your three big choices. They're very broad. There would be variations therein. And what are we talking about also here with these so-called defectors? And you've seen it in videos recently. Look it up. I know somebody always says, why don't you include the video? Because when we used to include video clips on YouTube back when we were demonetized, they somehow said that we were stealing something and it turned into shit. So we stopped doing it entirely so that we can live up to the socialism that is YouTube. Okay. So Gates and Taylor Greene and all them, they're not really, and even Laura Loomer, they're not really leaving the party. They're not really leaving the Trump. They are reinvesting their capital by reinventing their position inside the party. Do you understand what I'm saying? Both have built, and I'm going to talk just about Gates and Taylor Greene because Loomer's an issue unto herself. See our site. We did a psychological profile on her. I would suggest you look at that and get an idea of where she's coming from. Uh, they're not really, I say they're not leaving. Both built fame on loyalty, then shifted towards self-branding when the loyalty stopped paying off. Matt's case, he was politically assassinated. Taylor Greene's case is she yapped too much and she was basically cut off from having any influence within the committees. But that was also done by Republicans. I think she thought Trump was going to step in and give her jobs. That's not what Trump does. You should know that by now. He is you. You are you. I am me. You do for me. I thank you. It's survival politics. They're using Trump's energy, then claim to be independent of it. That's how you stay relevant in a party where attention is the real currency. And that's what we're talking about here, the big picture. The real takeaway, this chaos isn't just dysfunctional, it's transformative. All right. The Republican Party is evolving from a structured coalition into a free market of ideas and identities. It's a living ecosystem where the loudest, most magnetic personalities rise the fastest, for better or worse. And that's why the system tolerates defectors. It's built on spectacle, not structure. If Trump triumphs economically, he'll rule through validation. If he fades, the factions will devour each other until somebody else captures the same mythic authority, which is why Vance has to watch what he does, because he hasn't made his bones yet. He hasn't come out of the bathroom and shot Salazzo and the police captain yet. He's got to do something bigger than he did. He started out grand, and then he's sort of like, yeah, nobody wants to be lectured all the time. Do something. Either way, the story isn't about the party anymore. It's about whoever can convince Americans that they hold the key to national restoration, that they can take what President Trump will have accomplished at the end of his 4 years and say, I can push that marker further. You can have 5 cars if you want. You have 2 cars now. You have a chicken in every pot. I'm going to give you 5 chickens in every car. Right? That's where he's going to go. It's a populism that can ride very similar to the kingfish. If you know Huey Long, I would suggest more people look at Every Man a King and see how parts of the Republican mantra are falling into that, even though at the old days, long, I think they would call him a socialist to some extent, but he definitely robbed people like a capitalist. Okay. So when you hear the word Republican now, think less of it as a team and more as a brand label shared by competing startups, each trying to inherit the same legacy, each willing to fight the others for the trademark. Trump did not destroy the party. He made it honest about what it already was. It was a marketplace of ambition, faith, and power, right? Wrapped up in the red, white, and blue. So thanks for listening to our podcast. I've told you everything you need to know about where to find us. Any questions, comments, such and such, feel free to contact us. We get back to you within a few days normally. And if you have ideas for, other reports that we can do on the side, we will most likely do them. We have, everyone's sitting around smoking cigarettes, looking at the wall to come up with ideas on a daily basis because we don't beat you over the head. Try not to beat you over the head with the same issue every day. So that is all. Have a good day, and I will talk to you later on.